Hey, Warriors fan. You who cheer every time the ball leaves Stephen Curry's hands and cuts through the air in that impossible arc. You know what it means to witness something beyond sport. It's pure magic. But today, you might want to take a deep breath, because there are whispers echoing through NBA corridors that could change not only the future of the Chase Center, but the entire balance of power in the West. What's being said isn't social media fiction. These are real, quiet conversations involving powerful agents, executives, and even veterans who still carry weight in the league. And all those whispers point to a possibility that sounds like a dream or a stroke of genius madness. One of the most explosive guards in modern basketball could be wearing blue and gold. Yes, him, Morant, the man who turns every possession into a show of speed, courage, and destruction. Now imagine that name under Steve Kerr's command. A coach who has always seen basketball as both art and science. And on the other side, Curry, the ultimate symbol of precision and harmony. One represents perfect calculation, the other, absolute chaos. Together, they could shatter the traditional concept of offense and create a new definition of unpredictability. Imagine defenses trying to choose between containing Morant's fury in the paint or Curry's lethal range. How do you guard that? Bringing Morant from Memphis, of course, would be a monumental challenge. He's more than a star. He's the face of a franchise built around his hope. A deal of that magnitude would require one of the biggest offers of the decade. But if there's one organization with the guts to try, it's the Golden State Warriors. Because this team has always lived on the edge of the impossible. They've never taken the safe path. That's how they made history. But the rumor doesn't stop there. There are two more pieces on this chessboard, both from far away. The Philippines, Renzo Abando and Sotto, two names that stole the spotlight at the FIBA World Cup and are now linked to the NBA's most visionary team. Abando is pure intensity. He defends as if the game depended on it, runs, dives for loose balls, hits improbable shots, and fires up the bench. He's the type of player Kerr has always valued, the one who changes the atmosphere on the floor without needing to be the star. Sotto is another story. A 2.11-meter giant with coordination, vision, and humility. The kind of center who doesn't chase stats, but impact. The Warriors have spent years trying to balance quick offense and physical presence. Sotto could be that bridge. Picture him setting the perfect screen for Curry, rolling to the rim while Morant attacks the gap and Abando waits free to punish a defensive lapse. That's not just strategy, it's tactical dynamite. Yet the true impact of this trio goes beyond the court. If this move happens, it won't just be a technical revolution, it will be cultural. The Filipino community in the San Francisco Bay Area is massive and devoted. The arrival of Sotto and Abando would create something never seen before, a global legion of new fans, millions of voices united around one symbol. It would be the birth of a connection between continents, and Golden State has always understood the power of turning sport into culture. Back on the floor, the fit is fascinating. With Morant, the offense would no longer be predictable. Defenses would be forced to split between closing the paint and protecting the perimeter, always one step behind. Sotto would add vision and stability. Abando would bring energy and defense. And Curry, free to move and create, would be more dangerous than ever. Chaos would be calculated. The result, devastating. Of course, there are risks. Morant carries controversy and off-court issues. But in a system like the Warriors, where discipline and collective responsibility are part of the DNA, he could be reborn. Under Curry and Kerr's influence, raw talent could transform into purpose. Sotto would find the perfect space to grow, learning from veterans within a winning culture. Abando, with his hustle and passion, could become an instant fan favorite, like Iguodala and Livingston once were, the silent pillars of championship runs. If all this came true, the NBA would have to adapt once again. Lakers, Nuggets, Suns, and even the young Thunder would need to rethink their strategies. Because when the Warriors change, the whole game changes. It happened when they revolutionized the world with small ball. It happened during the three-point era, and it could happen again. This time with a hybrid system of speed, creativity, and physical impact. That's Golden State's essence. to evolve while the rest of the world is still trying to understand what happened. After all, this franchise has never waited for the future to arrive. It has always built it. Every golden era was born from an unthinkable decision. In 2015, people laughed when they said you could win by taking more threes than twos. Today, every team in the league tries to copy them. That's how the Warriors operate. They don't follow trends, they invent them. And maybe they're about to do it again. Picture this new formation. Curry remains the maestro, the mind, the man who sets the tempo. Morant is the lightning bolt, the spark that turns the system into motion. Sotto, the link between eras, the silent force stabilizing chaos. Abando, the beating heart reigniting the flame. Together they wouldn't just be players, they'd be a message. The dynasty isn't over. It's merely evolving. Curry, at 37, carries a legacy that transcends statistics. He's not chasing proof anymore. He's chasing continuity. A partner like Morant would give him freedom. A center like Sotto would give him balance. A warrior like Abando would give him energy. It's the perfect combination of experience and renewal. For Sotto, this opportunity would mean more than a contract. It would mean destiny. Few young international players get the chance to grow in a structure like this. He would learn to read the game differently, absorbing every detail. He wouldn't just be an Asian player in the NBA, he'd be a global symbol of evolution. And Abando would embody persistence, the man who reminds everyone that talent only shines when fueled by effort. His drive could ignite the locker room, restoring that spark that once made the Warriors' bench feel like an extension of the crowd. It's the kind of energy that wins games when talent alone isn't enough. But this story goes beyond technique. It's about legacy, faith, and purpose. The Bay Area has always breathed basketball, but imagine that passion amplified by millions of Filipino hearts. Every game would become a spectacle of unity, flags intertwined, voices in different languages, one shared emotion. It would be basketball returning to its essence, human connection, and at the center of it all, Stephen Curry, the man who turned the game's mathematics into poetry. He would be the bridge between generations, the mentor guiding Morant to maturity, inspiring Sotto to believe, and giving Abando the confidence to belong to something greater than himself. It's a story that transcends sport. The rumor may seem distant, but every revolution begins with a whisper, and this one has already begun to echo. The rumors keep growing like a wave about to break. Inside the walls of the Chase Center, there is a strategic silence. No one confirms, no one denies. But everyone knows that when the Golden State front office goes quiet, something big is being prepared. It has always been that way before every turning point. And perhaps we are witnessing the next one. Behind the scenes, it is a minefield of speculation, with every agent, scout, and reporter trying to decipher the mystery. Where is this movement coming from? Who is leading the talks? Some say the Warriors' front office understands that Curry's window is not closed yet, but that time demands reinvention. They know that isolated talent doesn't sustain a dynasty. What keeps the flame alive is continuous evolution. And now, Morant, Sotto, and Abando appear as the ideal pieces for this new board. The plan is not to rebuild. It is to reimagine. Golden State doesn't want to return to the past. It wants to create a new way to win. That requires boldness, and boldness is the franchise's native language. When everyone chased dominant centers, they bet on mobility. When everyone believed the game was about physicality, they proved intelligence wins. Now they want to merge both worlds, speed and strength, intuition and structure, youth and wisdom. Morant would be the first step of this revolution. His talent is not just athletic, it is emotional. He plays as if every possession were personal, as if the game were an extension of his soul. The problem is that this intensity, when misdirected, has already led him to mistakes. But in Golden State, that fire would have a frame. Curry, with his serenity and focus, would be the mirror Morant needs. Under Kerr, he would learn to turn instinct into control, impulse into intelligence. It would be the natural evolution of a prodigy searching for redemption. Sotto, on the other hand, represents patience, a young man who matured away from the spotlight, building fundamentals and resilience. Every point, rebound, and assist in his journey is a reflection of discipline, and that is precisely the trait the Warriors value most. They don't want ready-made superstars, but talents who understand the process. Kai fits that perfectly. His vision and reading of the game would make him a functional center within the quick passing system. He's not the type to impose respect by size alone, but by the intelligence of being in the right place at the right time. And then there's Ren's Abando, the silent warrior who plays as if he has something to prove every second. His energy is contagious. He doesn't need the spotlight to change the rhythm of a game. He's what coaches call the emotional thermometer. When he steps in, everything heats up. He's the kind of player who embodies what Golden State has always been: effort, sacrifice, and total commitment. Kerr would use him as a defensive catalyst, the one who shifts games decided by details. But perhaps the deepest impact of this trio wouldn't be in the stats, but in the meaning. Morant brings the fire of redemption. Sotto brings the pride of a continent. Abando brings the humility and drive of the invisible worker. Together, they would represent a new narrative, the return of basketball as a universal language. The connection between the Philippines and the Bay Area would become an emotional bridge. Millions of new fans, intertwined stories, mixed flags. The arena would host something bigger than victories. It would be a meeting of cultures. Sotto and Abando wouldn't just be foreign athletes in the NBA, but symbols of hope for young people who grew up believing the American dream can begin anywhere in the world. Inside the locker room, the impact would be immediate. Curry, used to carrying the burden of leadership, would find a new kind of motivation. He wouldn't have to do everything anymore. He could teach, show without saying what it means to win with purpose. That transition is the secret to a dynasty's longevity, when the star understands that their greatest legacy is not what they achieve, but what they pass on. And that's what separates Golden State from everyone else. While franchises like the Lakers and Suns chase instant shine, the Warriors always invest in structure. They don't just want wins, they want culture. And culture cannot be bought. It's built, one practice at a time, one silent conversation during halftime, one shared belief when the lights go out. Amid all this, the league's voices begin to react. Some analysts call it utopia, others genius. But those who know the competitive heart of this team understand. When Golden State believes in something, the impossible becomes only a matter of time. The future then begins to take shape. Morant and Curry together would mean a new kind of offense. A chaotic orchestra with two maestros conducting opposing yet complementary melodies. Sotto, with his refined footwork and precise passing, would be the counterbalance, the gravitational center of a moving system. And Abando, the spark that ignites it all. Picture the chase center on a decisive night. The clock runs down. The opposing defense collapses the perimeter, trying to trap Curry. Morant cuts diagonally, drawing two defenders. Sotto sets the screen and opens space. The pass comes fast, almost invisible. Curry releases the shot. The ball spins, kisses the rim, falls. The arena erupts. The old magic is reborn, but in a new form, a new era. Meanwhile, in Manila, entire families wake up before dawn to watch the game. In Memphis, fans are torn between nostalgia and admiration. And across the NBA, rivals realize what seemed like a rumor has become reality. The dynasty is back. But this time, it speaks more languages, reaches more hearts, and carries an even greater purpose. Because what is being born in Golden State is not just a team, it's a movement, a reminder that basketball can unite worlds. The rest of the league will try to keep up, adjust schemes, copy systems, search for answers. But the truth is that when the Warriors fall into sync, the game stops being tactics and becomes art. It was that way before, and all signs point to it being that way again. With each passing day, the conversations grow more intense. Morant's name appears in discreet discussions among executives, and the idea of seeing him in San Francisco no longer sounds so far-fetched. Everything fits together almost symbolically. On one side, Curry, the architect of calm, the creator of harmony within chaos. On the other, Morant, the lightning bolt that breaks and destroys patterns, the perfect contrast to reignite the spirit of innovation. Behind the scenes, what draws the most attention is how this potential union is based on logic, not just emotion. The Warriors have always won because they understood timing better than anyone else. They know when to accelerate and when to change before decline begins. That anticipation is the secret of their dynasty. Now, with Curry still at a high level, the team seeks to plant the next root while the main trunk still blossoms. Morant would bring explosion and youth. Sotto, balance and interior presence. Abando, energy and soul. And Kerr's system, refined over a decade, would have the tools to merge it all into something new. No team in the NBA mixes intelligence and audacity like Golden State. None have the courage to destroy what worked in order to build something even greater. Comparisons with the past are inevitable. In 2015, basketball changed forever. Now the transformation could be cultural. The impact wouldn't just be technical, but emotional and global. The Chase Center would become a stage of diversity and unity. The NBA, used to local hegemonies, would witness an empire that speaks multiple languages, inspiring entire continents. At practice, the image would be powerful. Curry and Morant exchanging mid-range passes, adjusting timing and movement. Sotto, alert, setting precise screens and releasing the pass in fractions of a second. Abando pressing defense, anticipating lanes, turning transitions into art. Everything moves as if each piece already knows its place. The media would try to name the phenomenon. Some would call it the era of integration. Others, the blue and gold revolution. But inside the locker room, the name would be different. Rebirth. Because that's what defines the Warriors. The ability to be reborn every time the world thinks the cycle is over. As the rumors spread, the fans live a mix of nostalgia and anticipation. There's something familiar in this feeling, the same vibration that existed when Curry first began to change the game. But now, there's a new emotional dimension. The possibility of seeing players like Sotto and Abando representing millions of people from the Philippines brings a human meaning that transcends sport. Kerr understands this. He has always believed that basketball is more than plays and stats. It's about intersecting stories, about how talent can inspire. It's about transformation, on and off the court. That's why he sees in Morant not just an athlete, but a man in search of redemption. He sees in Sotto proof that talent can bloom anywhere on the planet, and in Abando, a reminder that the heart is the greatest engine in sports. According to sources close to the negotiations, talks are already at an advanced stage. Golden State has assets, has influence, and above all, has purpose. The front office knows time waits for no one. Legends don't last forever. Each generation must pass the torch to the next before the flame fades. And Curry seems ready for that. Behind closed doors, it's said he has approved the idea of sharing the spotlight. Unthinkable in other eras. But Curry has always been different. He never played to prove superiority, but to create legacy. And perhaps, deep down, he knows that teaching a new talent to lead is the greatest trophy he can lift. Sotto, meanwhile, continues to evolve. His recent numbers show a more complete player every season. He's no longer the promising kid. He's a mature athlete aware of his own potential. His time in the B League shaped him into a professional who understands the importance of every detail. His mindset is what makes him valuable, and that's exactly what Kerr's system demands. Discipline with imagination. Abando, the most tireless of the three, would be the symbol of rewarded effort. His journey inspires because it wasn't built on privilege. He represents pure perseverance, the strength of someone who refuses to be underestimated. And that kind of presence transforms a roster, because it's not always the top scorer who changes a team, but the one who inspires the most. Now imagine the visual impact of it all. The Chase Center packed, Filipino and Californian flags side by side, cameras from around the world broadcasting not just a game, but an event. Curry dribbling on the perimeter, Morant cutting diagonally, Sotto rising for the screen, Abando poised in the corner. The ball moves, the defense collapses, the shot falls, the crowd roars in multiple languages. Basketball becomes universal. Rivals take notice. Lakers and Nuggets begin to adjust. The league's balance shifts once again. Because what Golden State does isn't just win, it redefines. And when they find rhythm, the rest of the NBA reacts, never dictates. Headlines already forecast what's coming. The return of the dynasty. Curry and Morant, the impossible duo, Sotto, the new bridge between continents. But inside the locker room, the tone is different. There, focus is on work, preparation, and fine-tuning that turns potential into reality. What the Warriors are building goes beyond a season. It's a manifesto, a reminder that basketball is built on ideas, courage, and faith. When no one believes, they believe. When everyone doubts, they act. That's the essence of the franchise that has already redefined the sport more than once. And perhaps soon, the world will see it happen again. The circle closes. The past meets the future. The old guard passes the torch. Blue and gold shine once again under San Francisco's lights. And the sound that echoes isn't just the ball hitting the net. It's the rebirth of a dynasty. Because in Golden State, the impossible is never the end. It's only the starting point. When the lights go out at the Chase Center and silence fills the arena, something remains. It's not just the echo of baskets or the applause. It's the feeling that something is about to begin again. A new era, born from the same spirit that once transformed the game. The Warriors, once again, stand on the edge of reinvention. What began as a rumor now sounds like destiny. Curry is still the beacon that guides. Morant could be the lightning that clears the way. Sotto and a bando, the symbol of unity between worlds. Together they can write the next great chapter in basketball history, because this franchise has never been content to repeat old glories. It has always wanted to create something new, from Oracle to Chase, from past generations to future ones. The essence remains, to challenge what seems impossible. And perhaps when the world looks back, it will remember this moment as the beginning of it all. When the flame was rekindled, when blue and gold once again lit up the NBA. But until then, the future is under construction, and you are part of it. If you believe in this new era, show your strength. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Because when this revolution begins, you'll want to say, I was there, from the very first step. The dynasty hasn't ended. It has only changed form. And what comes next may be the greatest story the Warriors have ever told.